Okay,
Alright, cool.
don't interrupt, don't interrupt me.
Yeah. Sorry.
Nah, it's cool. Okay, I'm on a phone call with Jack, who I recently did a video for showing his game. Did you watch that?
I watched like the first like maybe 2 minutes of it, and I was just laughing by that point, and I was just, oh
You dropped
god.
out when you saw I was fucking everything up, right?
Well, no, because I was at work at the moment, and I was like, I gotta get back to work. I can't stop for this right now. Like I can't do this right now. But I am fairly certain it would have gotten more and more hilarious as time went on. So at some
Oh,
point, I'm
that
going to be checking that out again.
originally it was an hour and a half long. I cut out so much pointless stuff.
Jesus Christ. See, that's why I say you're like my biggest heckler. Is because like you're my favorite heckler. Sorry. It's because like if what you make fun about my stuff is the worst it gets, I'm fairly certain it'll be all right. I can
I mean,
laugh
it
at
can
the
be
stuff you
worse,
like
but
the stuff you point out. Oh, of course it can. I'm just fairly certain like yours is the only one that has any credit to it. You make good jokes and everything, and
I
it's
wouldn't
just
say
it's
they're
funny
good.
that.
But if you think they're good, I'll take it.
Fair enough.
Anyways, Jack, tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, I'm fairly certain I know you, but most people don't, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right, I am a 22-year-old male, um, who has been down on his luck a lot, but that's besides the point. I I was born in Georgia, in specifically I was born specifically in Douglas County, Georgia,
Didn't you live at,
in
like,
Douglasville.
in Idaho at one point?
Yeah, that's part of the I moved around a lot. I was raised mostly in Georgia, moving around in Georgia as well, but I also moved out to Arizona, to Alabama, Florida, Idaho, Vermont, etc. I've been to almost every state in the United States. Unfortunately, I've never been out of the country, but I guess that's par for the course.
Yeah,
I
I mean, I've only
I've been
been.
into video game development for a good minute. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, I've only been in the Americas, never to Europe, Asia, or Africa, or Australia.
Mm, fair enough. Like traveling is a lot of people like to make it seem like it's really cool. The side of traveling that I've seen is just it's draining, to be honest with you. But like all the power to the people who just want to go out there and see
I'd
things. Like there's still
say
places I want to go to.
it can be draining depending on who you were traveling with. A big part of traveling is definitely being with the right people.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is because like I've always wanted to go back and revisit some of the places where I've made like lots of friends and everything. But I've also wanted to take people with me because like I personally I don't like going places by myself. And I hate being alone. So like there's that. It definitely makes or breaks the experience.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming a good point to go to is the video game development side of things.
Yes.
Uh, it's like how
Since
long I've
that's
been
what
into that.
this is about, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I've technically been into this since I was 12. Around that time, it'd been out for a good minute, but around that time, I finally got to play Kingdom Hearts. And if for you already know this, but like most people don't. I mean, a lot of people do, but like randos and strangers
The
don't really
the
know this.
general audience, half of them will know.
Yeah,
That half being you.
yeah. So Kingdom Hearts is my favorite game, pretty much of all time. My favorite game franchise at that. I liked how the gameplay felt, and like Kingdom Hearts 2 definitely improved upon that. But Kingdom Hearts 1 was still nice. It was still fresh. It was different from what I was used to. And at the time, I had never played Devil May Cry or anything. I had never played anything, you know, like that. So all I
Mm.
knew in the action adventure kind of like hack and slash style of things was Kingdom Hearts. So at the time, that was innovative to me. um, and the story was like beautifully crafted. And of course, they've retconned it since then, but the story in the first one was really nice, and I felt like it was actually pretty well put together. It had its weird moments because JRPG. It's
Yeah.
and you get it. But I thought it was a really good game, and I, in that moment, decided that I wanted to be able to make a game like that. I wanted to be able to make people feel the way I did when I played that game, when I heard the music, when I did the things as Sora.
Yeah. Full
And
disclosure, I've
that's
never played the
essentially when I
game.
decided I wanted.
I've never played the game, but I know a bit of the story, and from talking to you, I definitely do see it as a big influence.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's one of those games. I think especially since I was in a really bad situation at the time, uh, like emotionally and everything, and
Yeah.
having like a lot of confusion as to who I was, and that's a lot to say for a 12-year-old. You know,
Oh, I mean,
I think that
I
definitely helped to give me.
I realized we all died when I was 8 years old looking at a gorilla in a museum. So I've been there.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like I think I was actually about 8 when I realized that the world was over.
You know how
Oh god.
Disney recently bought Star Wars and, well, not recently on Star. You know how they own Fox, Star Wars, and Marvel now?
Yeah.
Does that mean Sean Hannity is going to be in the next Kingdom of Hearts?
See, you called it Kingdom of Hearts, and now it's harder to take this question seriously.
Not the
You
Sean
make it
Hannity part,
yeah, the Sean Hannity, not the Sean Hannity part, the
but the
Kingdom
Kingdom
of
of
Hearts part.
Hearts. That's
Yeah,
the
because
part where he
everyone
can't take it
calls
seriously.
that's the heartbreak right there. It's because like let me see. If like if the King of the Hill characters in the universe is going to be in the next Kingdom Hearts game, I'm fairly certain Sean Hannity could probably be there too. We're gonna have Hank Hill as a member of
Damn it, Bobby!
Organization
I
13.
told you to get that Keyblade off the lawn. Okay, Dad.
But yeah, um, that definitely affected me in a positive direction, I want to say, towards making games.
Hmm.
Now, I also was very like one track mind about doing that. And so I was trying to make another Kingdom Hearts. Fortunately for me, I did the wrong thing to do that, but also I learned stuff that was good for me to learn uh,
Hmm.
along the way. I started looking at like marketing tactics and everything, and I started looking at like what people liked, uh, and I wanted to try and recreate that. Um, but I also was like definitely heavy set on doing an RPG, and that's what I was like. I only want to do RPGs. I only like RPGs, so I'm only gonna do an RPG. And like I was 12, so you gotta cut me some slack there, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but I started looking at like in depth at Kingdom Hearts, like who the creator was, and I can tell you right now, my inspiration for video game development is still Tetsuya Nomura, right? Like if I ever got to meet the guy, I would like love to shake his hand.
You'd never watch that
And
hat again. Yeah, just
nah,
just cut it off, put
um,
it in a glass frame.
exactly, nah. Um, I always try to say that I consider him more of a rival than anything, because at first I wanted to make a game like Kingdom Hearts, and that was my first, hurdle. And I eventually came to the idea that I don't want to make a game like Kingdom Hearts. I want to make a game better than Kingdom Hearts, right?
Yeah.
And so at some point, I considered Tetsuya Nomura my rival. And it's sort of as a motivation, I kept telling myself I want him to recognize me as his rival one day, which is stupid and completely like never gonna happen. I'm fairly certain. But like, hey, Nomura, if you're listening,
Odds are they aren't.
exactly. Uh,
S-
but over time, I have a kind of vision for the games I want to make now and everything. Uh, like I have four rules for it. It has to be fun. It has to have some kind of story to it, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's something stupid bullshit but for fun, or whether it's something like in depth and serious, or
Like that
what have you.
Lovecraft
It
game
has to have
idea I
some
sent
kind of
you.
yeah. Which actually I've legitimately thought about, but I think like they've actually made that game at this point. If you saw the Call of Cthulhu game that's coming out apparently,
I
I was
haven't
like,
looked too
this looks
much
a lot,
into it, but I'm very hesitant on that because most people cannot do Lovecraft, right?
which is understandable. It was like it looked a lot like what you were trying to tell me, and it was like this guy that was just like down on his luck that was like going through like things, and there's like a spell of madness or something, which
Yeah, something kind of
that's
like that.
fair.
Although mine
Exactly.
revolves around the main character's daughter.
Yeah.
Anyways,
You know what? Speaking of good,
when we first met, you were working on Epilogue. Were you working on that before or around the same time as Cicero, or did one evolve
Soraya,
into
by the
the
way,
other?
in case you don't know how to pronounce it, it's Soraya, or just Soraya.
Celery.
Yeah, that's closer. I prefer that. I prefer that over Cicero, please.
What's wrong with
Um,
Cicero?
Ep- Cicero. I don't need to encounter Cicero again. Like, I don't want to go on a whole quest for the Night Mother, please. Uh,
I would say something about Mother, but I did not do that quest.
that's fair. Um, let's see. So, Epilogue was a long time coming. Like, Epilogue was the first game I ever came up with, essentially. Well, no, it would technically be the third, because there was one I came up with when I was 12, which is called Dragon Nations. It was such a dumb idea, and it'll never happen, but it's fun to look back at.
Hey, it
Uh,
might happen. I mean, when
no,
I
I
was
don't want to make it. I don't want to make it.
my first superhero was Space Devil. He was like this big lizard looking guy. I made him when I was
Uh,
in first grade, I believe. I'm not sure how old I was at the time. But recently I brought him back. I made him the biblical Satan and I love him. So never doubt it. Bring it back, make Dragon Riders something neat where you play as like some dragon burninating the peasants.
See, it's funny you say that. I think there's actually a game that already exists that is exactly that. No, what
Chalkboard the Burninator.
Dragon Nations is essentially you have to tame different dragons and like breed them and everything. And the only monsters you technically tame are dragons, but there's other monsters you have to fight with the dragons and everything. It was not a good idea. It was not. It was really not. I was like, it sounds fun, but nah. it's fun to look back at though, because like I remember like putting a lot of heart into it, but at the
Hmm.
same time, that was during my period of time where I had less of a focus on passionate stuff and more of a focus on what are people gonna like. And at which point I have since moved away from specifically going after what people like, um, for the sake of making sure it's a game that someone's gonna play. Right? My whole focus on
Hmm.
games nowadays is like if I wouldn't play it, I wouldn't make it. Or if someone on the team wouldn't play it, we wouldn't make it. Or rather, no, like if everyone on the team wouldn't play it, we
I
wouldn't
was
make it.
about to say
Like we're not gonna.
you're
Yeah,
never
that's what
gonna make any
I was like,
games.
wait,
I would not play
we're not gonna make
that.
any
Well,
game.
guess we're not gonna make it.
But yeah, no, if everyone on the game wouldn't play, we wouldn't make it because it's like that's basically it. It's like why would we all work on a game that we can collectively would not play for any reason?
Money.
So that's essentially the way that I look at it now. Is that like I'm not gonna make a game that we as a team wouldn't play
Yeah.
because I feel like that's just kind of torture to ourselves. Like if one person wouldn't play it just because it's not their style of game, they could still work on it because like everyone else is happy about it, and everyone like that energy could just kind of get shared around and everything. And like there's other games that you will like you can work on. And that's the biggest part about my team is that like I highly encourage the sharing of ideas, right? Like
Hmm.
even though this is my passion project, I highly encourage the idea of like giving me new thought processes on it and everything. Let's see what it would do like this way, right? Uh, Also to clarify, the artist that did all the art on the reveal and everything, that would be Lauren McGraw. I almost used the wrong last name for a second there.
I
Uh,
thought they were LAS.
well, yeah, that was her original last name was Smith. She uh, she is a very talented artist, by the way. Um, and she's basically taken all the concept art that I drew and like made it so much better. That's essentially like
I don't know. I see a bit of influence from me and the librarian character.
yeah,
I definitely
I
recognize that mall.
yeah, I brought that to her attention. I was like, hey, um, so my friend Aiden drew something and he was like, here, you can have it. And I was like, cool. So instead of the hammer that I drew, which was like a technos like
It was more
ram
of a
scroll
scepter.
thing. Yeah, it was more of a scepter than it was like a mace. It was supposed to be a mace, but it was more like a scepter. And
I
he
actually have
drew
the video
a
in, or the picture in my video.
oh nice, cool. Yeah. So I was like, hey, uh, go ahead and use kind of the same coloration that I had, and just throw this in instead of the mace that I had. And she's like, okay, no problem. And I dare say she did it pretty well. She is a really good friend of mine that I've had for a while, which is basically the situation with all the people that are working on the project. Is like I've known these people and I trust them. Um,
Am I working on the project?
and
I feel like I am, but not in a helpful
you
way.
you were on Soraya. You were on this project with me. You just like never gave me anything else. And like I was like, all right, I guess Aiden's not gonna do anything.
I
So
mean, I'm pretty sure I've
I wasn't.
redesigned all your characters at this point.
Oh, I mean, you have. I'm just never going to use those redesigns. Though I appreciate it, I'm just never going to.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
redesigned
completely
all
understand.
the characters. You redesigned all the
Although,
characters
you
that I've
better
shown
give
at this.
Finn a
Yeah.
fucking Glock.
I'm not giving. His name is Otis, by the way, which I think we actually need to get to at some point. Is the actual game itself?
Yeah, yeah. Right now, let's see, one, two, three. There's about three more questions before that that I
Okay,
planned. We
go
can
for it.
skip ahead if you want.
Nah, go ahead with those questions. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything out the way for you.
Okay. The next
Clear it
one
out the
is
water, get it off my chest.
what?
As nothing. Go ahead.
Other than making games, what would be your dream job?
Okay. Um. So that's both an easy question and a hard question because
I'd say give a
my
for the sake of getting to the game. I'd say keep it kind of brief if you wouldn't mind.
I gotcha. Um. I have other things that I plan to do with my life as well. Like I want to open a restaurant at some point, like an outdoor eatery. Like that's something I'd like to do. I kind of like
You want
that
to hook it up
idea.
with
But
my
then I
gypsy
also
shop?
have
Because that's
might
something
as
I want to
well. You can
open.
hook it up with my friend's arcade idea.
God, that would be a weird ass
But
place. You can eat, play video games, and have your
right?
porch in red.
Exactly. But I it would be that, but then there's also the fact that I am a musician, and though I don't want to do it for money, I write lyrics, and I have attempted to start a band again. Uh, it hasn't gone anywhere yet, but I
Remind
at
me to
least
hit
want to
you up
like
for some
make the
heavy metal
music at some point.
lyrics.
All right, that's fine.
So, music and food are your other passions, you'd say?
Yeah, music and food, definitely. And I don't just mean eating the food.
I mean
I'm super into
that's the
cooking and
best part of
everything.
food.
Oh, it is. It's the best part is eating the food. And if anyone else tells you otherwise, they're lying. Okay.
You've got to face the food just right. Actually, uh, I found out that a big part of food commercials is that none of the food's edible.
Yeah, because they spray it with stuff to make it shiny and
They use
everything, and
like
it's like
motor
no.
oil,
Yeah.
microwave tampons for steam.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like when I went behind backstage at like Six Flags and Disney World.
Yeah.
So, if there were a movie made about your life, who would play you?
I've always said I've wanted Leonardo DiCaprio to play me because I feel like our hairstyles, he could match my hairstyle well enough, and he could also probably put out the same kind of energy that I have in my everyday life. So, probably
Leonardo
Leonardo
DiCaprio?
DiCaprio.
For,
Yeah.
for me, it would be Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I can see that.
God, that would be a glor. Shit. Both of them in the same movie. Him playing you and DeVito playing me.
That would be absolutely hilarious, especially given we're like the same height and like that is like at least a foot difference.
Yeah. Okay, let's move
Oh
on
god.
more to your gaming company and the game itself. So tell me a bit
Okay.
about Eros Entertainment and how does it relate
All
to
right.
Kryptonic Comics?
Eros Entertainment is actually no longer the title. We're just going by Eros, and for the sake of Sorella, we're the Eros development team. Um, just to give you just to say Ryan Cooper of the Eros development team, because like saying Ryan Cooper of Eros makes it seem like I'm some knight from a faraway country or
Sir Ryan the
ambassador.
Cooper of Eros.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I was
might
like.
throw that in my D&D game now.
Go for it, my dude. Eros was a name that I essentially threw around for a good bit. Um, And I've had other ideas come and go where like I could change the name of the team from Eros to something else, but I don't know. Just Eros has stuck with me for a long time, and every time I try to come up with something different, Eros just wins out. It was based on like the whole like Artemis and Apollo kind of thing with
Hmm.
archery, hence it was named Eros. Uh, so there was like a whole like sun and moon thing to it for a while, but
Hmm.
nowadays it's just a word, and it's a word that means something to me at least, and hopefully to the team as well. But you know,
And how does it relate to
um,
Captonic Comics?
I don't know, Aiden. How does it relate to Keeptonic Comics?
Well, I don't know. We haven't worked out any deal.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Um, I believe Keeptonic Comics is the comic book publishing company that you wanted to make
Yeah.
to publish your comics and everything.
Yep. So far,
A
it's just
while, like
me.
yeah, when we were in high school, um, and being dumb teenagers as we were, we essentially were like, yeah, we'll like work with each other's companies and everything. You can make comics of my video games, and I can
I
make
mean,
video games of your
hell, we still
comics.
will, unless you're going back on
Oh, I
it.
mean, it's very likely. It's very likely that it's going to happen. Yeah, I'll have my people call your people. The joke there is you have no people to call.
Yeah.
But I got
There's
you,
me, I
man.
guess.
See,
Call my
look, like I
publicist.
said, like I said, I've been working on this game for 5 years now, on and off.
Hmm.
With other projects coming and going between and everything. I've got a list of projects on backup to like work on after Soraya is done too. So like, I have no shortage. And then there's like other people in the company that I mean, not the company, other people in the team that are like, yeah, I have a game idea, and I'm like, sure, we'll totally do that because I'd love to, and
Now that you
I
mention it, I
really
have another game
love to
idea.
like.
So
All
let me
right,
pitch this to you real quick.
go for it.
In it, you play as me, and it's kind of a bit of a dungeon crawler where you go around collecting alcohol and killing aliens to save ladies. Then in the end, you playing as me sacrifice yourself in a giant explosion to kill the UFO mothership.
I think that is probably the greatest idea that you've ever pitched, and I don't, and like as amazing as it is, I don't think I could perform. I could, truly create this game to its full potential. So I'm gonna have to pass.
Don't worry, I'll help you with it the whole way. We'll put Sorella to the side and work on this.
Oh, of course, of course.